Are dreamcatchers cultural appropriation, or are using them, if you're non-Indigenous, cultural appropriation? Do you personally use a dreamcatcher? And is it okay to have one hanging in your home or car? Or is it actually cultural appropriation towards Indigenous people to use them if you're non-native? Many people use dreamcatchers when they sleep or simply as decoration. But we get asked a lot at Tribal Trade Co. if using a dreamcatcher is allowed or if it's cultural appropriation towards Native American Indigenous people. If you've ever wondered this, then keep watching to find out. Hi there, I'm Mallory from tribaltradeco.com. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for new videos every single week on smudging, Indigenous culture, and Native teachings. Before we begin, let's cover two of the basics. First, what is cultural appropriation? Cultural appropriation is when someone takes elements of a culture that is not their own and reuses it or tries to make it their own, reducing it to either a stereotype, trend, or pop culture item. For example, mass-producing tribal headdresses as a trendy accessory. To learn more, watch our full video all about cultural appropriation right here. Now, number two. Secondly, what is a dreamcatcher? In many Native American tribes, a dreamcatcher is a handmade willow hoop woven into a web that creates a kind of net. They can include feathers, beads, and are traditionally used as a form of protection to literally catch bad dreams, spirits, or other negative energy. To find out more about the meaning behind dreamcatchers, their significance, their uses, check out our full video right here. Chances are, though, you've seen a dreamcatcher before. You might even own one yourself. But if you're non-Indigenous, is using a dreamcatcher considered cultural appropriation? This video is all about answering that question. And the quick answer is, it depends. That's why in today's video, we're covering 5 factors that will help you determine whether you're appropriating Indigenous culture with your personal dreamcatcher use. At Tribal Trade Co., we believe in sharing Indigenous culture with everyone. However, we also believe in treating Indigenous culture and teachings with the respect that they deserve. So rather than telling you you can't use a dreamcatcher, we'd rather teach you how to use a dreamcatcher respectfully. The key to avoiding cultural appropriation is respect, honesty, and integrity. We've helped tens of thousands of people use Indigenous teachings and traditions in their daily lives in a way that is respectful and authentic. By the end of this video, you'll be able to do it too. So keep watching to find out the 5 factors that will determine whether you're using your dreamcatcher in a way that appropriates Indigenous culture or if you're A-okay. All right, now number 1, the first question or the first factor in understanding if you're using your dreamcatcher respectfully or cultural appropriation lines are being crossed is to ask how exactly you're using your dreamcatcher. How you're using your dreamcatcher can help you determine if it's cultural appropriation or if you're fine. So first, are you using a dreamcatcher for its sacred purpose of protection, or is it simply a trendy accessory or a design on a t-shirt? The purpose of the dreamcatcher is important. It's something that has been mass-produced for profit by a non-Indigenous person or a company, then your dreamcatcher is likely cultural appropriation. But if you're using your dreamcatcher in a way that honors the legacy of dreamcatchers in Indigenous history and culture, then that's the best way to avoid cultural appropriation and honor the culture. Now, the second question or factor to ask yourself if you're appropriating the culture or if you're fine is who is using the dreamcatcher. You might think that I'm going to tell you that if you're non-Indigenous, then using a dreamcatcher is automatically cultural appropriation. But that's not true. Anyone, Indigenous or non-Indigenous, can appreciate Indigenous culture. And anyone, Indigenous or non-Indigenous, can disrespect the culture too. Recognizing whether you are Indigenous or not simply helps you determine how to best use the dreamcatcher. Are you an Indigenous person who's honoring your own heritage, or are you a non-Indigenous person who's learning about and practicing Indigenous traditions and teachings? It doesn't matter whether you are Indigenous or not, as long as you are respecting Indigenous cultural practices and the sacred purpose of the Dreamcatcher. And if you're honoring other cultural teachings and traditions as well. The third question to ask yourself, or the third factor in whether you are respecting or appropriating, is where exactly are you hanging your Dreamcatcher? Part of honoring the Dreamcatcher is making sure that you're taking care of it. In order to take care of it, it's important to hang it in a location that doesn't risk damaging it. Do you have your Dreamcatcher in a safe, protected place of honor? Doing so will help its significance. Traditionally, Dreamcatchers have been hung above doorways and windows, above beds, and even in the rear view mirror of cars. For more locations that you can respectfully hang your Dreamcatcher, check out this video right here. Now, where is your Dreamcatcher currently hanging? Let me know in the comments below. Now, the fourth question or factor to ask yourself if you are respecting or appropriating the Dreamcatcher teachings is, are you selling Dreamcatchers? Cultural appropriation happens anytime you take a piece of culture that's not yours and you try to package it or make a profit off of it. If you're a non-Indigenous person who's making Dreamcatchers and selling them, you might be taking a significant part of Indigenous culture and using it for your own benefit. That's in often cases appropriation. One other example might be if you are making Dreamcatchers yourself and then reselling them as though they are Indigenous made. This is not only dishonest, but you're selling an inauthentic product. It's possible to be truthful about the Dreamcatcher's origins. Maybe that you made them, not an Indigenous person, but that still doesn't make them authentic. Authentic Dreamcatchers will always be Indigenous made because they are an Indigenous tradition. Be honest with yourself about whether it's your right to create and sell Dreamcatchers and why, more importantly, why you are creating them. If you find yourself questioning it, then you probably know your own answer. Now, the fifth question or factor to ask yourself in wondering whether you are appropriating the culture or not is who made the Dreamcatcher that you are using. Is your Dreamcatcher that you have Indigenous made or not? Again, an authentic Dreamcatcher is part of Indigenous tradition and should be made by an Indigenous person, respecting the teachings and respecting those traditions. There might be some cases where making a Dreamcatcher yourself is different, as long as you are honoring the Dreamcatcher and not using it as a way to benefit from Indigenous culture, you're likely okay. It's okay to learn about Dreamcatchers and make them in order to honor Indigenous culture and teachings, especially if you're not selling them. If you're buying a Dreamcatcher, you should always make sure you're buying from an Indigenous creator or artist, as opposed to a large company who's appropriating Indigenous culture. Above all, you just want to make sure you're honoring the cultural significance of the Dreamcatcher. Now, by asking yourself these 5 questions and understanding these 5 important factors, you can ensure that you're honoring the significance of the Dreamcatcher teaching and avoiding cultural appropriation of this very sacred item. If you're ready to make your own Dreamcatcher, we've put together a step-by-step guide for you. Check out the link below. Have you found this video helpful? Let us know in the comments below so we can continue bringing you helpful tips and important information about Indigenous culture and teachings. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and we will see you next time.